It was a very busy business year in 2018. Here are some of the stories that made the headlines.
Right behind me is the former Sky Bank, which is now known as the Polaris Bank. As at Friday, the Central Bank of Nigeria, in consultation with the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, revoked the license of Sky Bank as a result of it being a growing concern, its inability to meet its minimum threshold, its permanent stay at the CBN lending window. However, the Central Bank of Nigeria has assured depositors of the safety of their funds. They have also assured that the management and staff of the then Sky Bank would continue operations with the new Polaris Bank.
With the announcement of the takeover, some customers remained unperturbed.
What I did was this morning, I went to the nearby Sky Bank nearest to me and do a transaction to know if there's any this thing, but the transaction was okay.
I also caught up with the head of research, Victor Ofili, at Kari Asset Management, who shared his thoughts regarding the takeover.
I would say the bank bit more than it could chew. When he acquired Main Street Bank back then in 2015, okay, it acquired not just the deposits but also the loans. So that tended to give the bank an unfavorable capital adequacy ratio.
Barely 3 months later, Diamond Bank and Access Bank both agreed to a merger, largely due to capitalization issues faced by Diamond Bank. The announcement followed Uzoma Dozie, CEO of Diamond Bank, bringing to the public's notice that Diamond Bank had dropped its international license and had become just a national bank. The merger, when completed, would hence make Access Bank the largest bank in Nigeria by asset base. CEO Access Bank Herbert Wigwe took to the official Access Bank Twitter account to speak of the value addition the merger portends for both parties.
The most persuasive part of this transaction is the customer benefits. Diamond Bank and Access Bank share many of the same areas of focus: women, youth, entrepreneurs, and the financially excluded. And this makes this an exciting and compelling transaction. But we should remember that Diamond Bank's corporate customers will also benefit directly from Access Bank's expertise, whether that's in trade finance, cash management, treasury, or corporate finance. The combination of our genuine strengths in retail and corporate banking and what that means for Nigeria is another significant part of the rationale for this transaction.
And shaking investors' confidence was a sanction by the Central Bank of Nigeria when it slammed a fine on technology giant MTN for allegedly repatriating funds out of the country, as well as CBN's 5.87 billion naira fine it slammed on 4 other financial institutions as it claimed they were involved in the alleged illegal fund repatriation. The 4 banks were Standard Chartered Bank, Stanbic IBTC, Citi, and Diamond Bank. Stanbic IBTC was fined 1.885 billion naira, Standard Chartered Bank was fined 2.47 billion naira, Citibank 1.265 billion naira, and Diamond Bank 250 million naira. According to the Director of Corporate Communications at Central Bank of Nigeria, MTN had illegally repatriated $8.134 billion out of the country. Following CBN sanctions, MTN filed a suit against CBN and the Attorney General of the Federation, categorically and unequivocally denying all charges by CBN and AGF, which encompassed the AGF Attorney General Malam Abubakar Malami, demanding the mobile operator refunds the government the accumulated tax arrears of $2 billion owed over the last 10 years. The two parties, however, decided to engage in settlement talks. The Central Bank of Nigeria, according to a statement by MTN, has reduced the amount it claimed MTN repatriated to South Africa from $8.1 billion to $52.6 million. Speaking of which, the 2018 national budget, which was first presented by the President Muhammadu Buhari in 2017, had the appropriation bill signed into law in June 2018, with rising issue of budget padding as the National Assembly made cuts amounting to 347 billion naira in the allocation of 4,700 projects submitted to them for consideration. Rather, 6,403 new projects were introduced, amounting to 578 billion naira. Johnson Chukwu, CEO of Kari Asset Management, shared his thoughts on this.
The process of interaction, consultation, engagement that should take place ahead of submission of the budget inputs seem not to be taking place. Ideally, in a presidential democracy, members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers. And when they might be influence peddlers, they are authorities that have the capacity to influence projects. That's on the one side. But in no democracy do you have the National Assembly members as executors. But the situation where you have the executive prepare a budget, the National Assembly will now not almost amend that budget. It's not what a democracy should be.
And in a bid to avoid the repetition of the late budget implementation, the president presented the 2019 budget on the 19th of December. Hopefully, the appropriation bill is signed earlier and funds for projects will be disbursed.
The implication is that the current expenditure alone is taking close to around 50% of the budget. By all standards, we can't say that is a good thing because when you spend a lot on the current expenditure, it means you're not
making profit.
You're not creating growth. Yeah.
Where we are right now, OPEC has pegged Nigeria's daily production to 1.69%. Let's even say 1.7. What that essentially means, and this decision came out on the 7th of
December?
This month, and I'm surprised that this budget was read 2 days ago. That was not factored in. So from the get-go, it means that we're already running a deficit budget. If you go contrary to what OPEC has mandated you to, it means that you are breaking certain rules and understandings or conventions that you signed to. And if you don't want to play by their rule, it means that you have to do what Qatar did, exit OPEC. So these are the issues.
UNESCO recommends at least 15% of the budget should be allocated. They recommend that 15% of the budget should be allocated to education as a minimum. And it's worse still when you consider that Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children. Over 10 million children are out of school in Nigeria, and it's the highest in the world. So obviously, what we should be doing where education is concerned is upping our game.
Finally, moving on to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where the activities of the economy are reflected on a daily basis to encourage environmental sustainability and mitigation of climate change. The Debt Management Office listed a $30 million sovereign green bond on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in July.
Nigeria is the fourth nation in the world to issue green bonds after Poland, France, and Fiji.
The issuer is the federal government of Nigeria, so as most of you would know, that represents, I would say, zero risk within our environment. So the risk is low for any investor. Apart from having a fulfillment of having invested in a product that you could call ethical, the risk is low. And we list our securities because we want them to be traded, so there's liquidity afforded to the investor.
And as the elections draw closer, the Nigerian stock market has seen a significant drop in its market capitalization with increased capital flight and foreign portfolio investment.
We've seen the Fed rate going up, and foreign portfolio investors are leaving emerging markets and frontier markets, of which we belong. And more so for the election that is upcoming in January next year, that definitely has a major point to play in Nigerian economy. We've seen this happen in year 2014, and again it's coming up, year 2015, and again it's coming up in 2019. Whenever this is coming up, we see a situation whereby investors would rather stay aloof from the market, pending the time they will know which direction it's going to go. Because the election is a real business and the main determinant for what happens thereafter. So sure, investors are also very conversant with safety of their investment, and if there is no continuity in the incumbent government, then definitely investors will not really want to leave their investment while the election happens. So this and more are what are actually affecting the market for now.
Hopefully, 2019 comes with better economic reports. For Plus TV Africa, I am Irene Ubani.